Hello, hello. Today we are going to talk about how to implement taking Cellcore's Para Kit. And here I have the box, so we're going to unbox it together. And so if you go ahead and open it up, it should say Para Kit on it. And there should be a couple of things inside. So first we have Para 1, Para 2, the little box, which contains Para 3. Go ahead and open that. We'll talk about how we're going to use all these products. We have the little bottle inside. And then we have biotoxin binder. Okay, and so if this is your first time, which if you're watching this, it probably is, there's also one last thing in here, which is this handy dandy card that's going to be where you'll reference to over and over again as you go through this. We're going to start with just 3 days, considering you're a beginner, with, as you can see here on the chart, it suggests beginner is 1 day before the full moon, the day of the full moon, and 1 day after the full moon. So plan and time that accordingly. What you'll want to do is mark it in your calendar, which day you're getting started, and have several reminders leading up into that so you can mentally and emotionally prepare. You might find that there are all the reasons in the world to not do a parasite cleanse this cycle or to push it off. In my circle, we tend to joke around and say, well, your parasites must really want to live today. So just notice if there's any reasons that come up for why you think that maybe you should wait. That being said, there are legitimate reasons for why you would want to wait. Those would be if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, now would not be the time to parasite cleanse. You would want to wait until you finished breastfeeding. If there is any chance that you're pregnant as well, you'll want to hold off. Also, if your kidneys are not functioning well, if your doctor's ever told you that you have poor kidney function, you might want to hold off or contact your provider to see if this is something that would be considered safe. Also, if you are undergoing any kind of cancer treatment, that'd be something you'd want to talk to your oncologist about or make your own decision in that department, but it's something you'd want to consider deeper. And then last, there's one more case. Oh, if your bowels are not moving properly. So as you'll see on this card, there is a little something that says, don't forget about drainage. And it also says this means 1 to 3 bowel movements per day and the ability to sweat. So you need to be able to qualify yourself to do this parasite cleanse. There is some preliminary work needed, meaning your detox drainage pathways need to be open, because that's where parasites are going to be leaving your body, is through your detox pathways, meaning eliminating bowel movements, sweating, that's another detox pathway. Peeing is another detox pathway, etc. So we want to make sure those are open before we start killing off things. So the main thing that's important is, do you have the ability to sweat? Yes or no? If you don't, reach out. We'll figure that out together. We might need some lymphatic support before doing something like this. And then 2, are you having at least 1 bowel movement a day? Minimum. If not, reach out. We may need to add something in. A really popularly added product to support with that, because likely if someone has more of a parasite concern, they might have slower bowels or sometimes loose stools. It can go on either end of the spectrum, but if you're more on the constipated end of the spectrum and it can be challenging to have at least 1 bowel movement a day, you could add in Cellcore's Bowel Mover product. Before using something like that, you could start with magnesium citrate. But that's an absolute bare minimum requirement to get into this, is you must be having 1 bowel movement a day. Now, that means you can take a supplement like the bowel mover that contains senna or magnesium citrate to make sure you're in that 1 bowel movement a day category. Okay, so that can be remedied pretty quick. But as you're going through these 3 days, if you are not having a daily bowel movement, we must do something about that. And I already gave you the strategies. The next strategy to consider is greater water intake during these 3 days. It will really help your process. It'll reduce any detox side effects, and we'll talk about that, but definitely increase your water intake. Filtered water with maybe some trace minerals in it can support you during this time. Not necessary, but just increase water as a baseline during the 3 days. In regards to diet, to just plan ahead, just eat clean. And you know what that version is for you. You're going to want to, and if you need some guidelines of how to eat clean, I would always suggest reduce or eliminate dairy, gluten, sugar, processed foods, and alcohol. That's a really good starting point of eating clean. Start there. Most sugar and dairy cravings come from imbalances in the gut microbiome. So we really want to watch that and not make things harder on ourselves. Because if we're parasite cleansing and ingesting herbs that are killing off parasites, while at the same time ingesting ice cream, which is essentially feeding the parasites, it can sometimes start to feel like a battle in our bodies. And we just want to make this process feel as easy as possible for ourselves. So it's 3 days, you can do it, but definitely plan ahead to set yourself up for success as you're going into these 3 days. Might require a little bit of extra grocery shopping, but you get out of it what you put in. So just be mindful of your diet, but don't go overboard. It's going to work regardless. It's just a matter of how good are you going to feel as you're going through the process. And how good you feel during the process will likely determine how many more times you'll want to do it. And I highly recommend doing this for more than one cycle. Ideally, 3 cycles, so 3 full moons in a row. Even better, 5 full moons in a row would be fantastic. And then as maintenance, and you can slowly increase to intermediate level and then advanced level if you feel good on beginner level. Even better, you could do Cellcore's full foundational protocol, which is much more comprehensive in 4 months, or you can do their entire comprehensive protocol, which is 7+ months. Talk to me if you'd like to do that, but the Para Kit is a really, really good starting point. Based on how you respond, it can kind of gauge where you're at. So as far as what we're actually doing on those 3 days, you're watching your diet, you're eating clean, you're drinking more water than usual, and then the only extra part that's added in is all of these products and how you're taking them. It is going to require a bit of planning. I recommend handwriting your schedule for yourself on paper, putting it somewhere where you're going to see it, because when we're creating new habits, handwriting works best. So this card is absolutely very, very helpful. It's a good starting point, but handwriting your doses and your times is going to help you remember. In addition, setting reminders in your phone. Okay, so this is what we're going to be setting. Feel free to pause this as you set your reminders in your phone or as you handwrite this down. Okay, so 2 of these, and this is an easy way to remember it. Para 1 and Para 2 go together. They're always taken together. Para 1, Para 2. Biotoxin binder and Para 3 go together. Okay, they're always taken together. And so these 2 would be great, Para 1 and Para 2. You take this as soon as you wake up and then right before you go to bed. So these would be a really good thing to keep on your nightstand, or you can just take out the dose that you need and put that on your nightstand. It'll be right as you wake up, right before you go to sleep. So the beginner dose is 2 of each first thing in the morning. So open this, 2 of these, 2 of these. So it's 4 total capsules right upon waking with an adequate amount of water, say 8 ounces of water. Just keep the glass of water next to your bed as well. So you can just quickly take that down first thing. And then same thing goes right before bed. Take your right before bed dose and then make sure it's your water and these are laid out for the next morning. And then set a reminder on your phone if that's not something you feel like you're going to remember naturally. It's okay if it's not. And then, so that you're doing that piece. And we can explain the how and the why and what you're taking and all of that in a separate video at a separate time. But this is just strictly implementation. What are we doing? And then we have the biotoxin binder and the para 3. So these are taken then AM, or so you could say breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So 3 doses per day. And you want to do this before meals. So the beginner dose is 10 drops. So literally shake it up really well and then open it up and then count 10 drops in a glass of water and take that right before you eat your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. So you'll want to locationally put these 2 products in your kitchen, probably, and wherever you eat your meals. If you go out to work, you'll actually want to take these 2 with you because you'll need to take it before lunch and also before breakfast if you eat breakfast at work as well. So these might need to be handy with you throughout the day. So put it in your work bag or in your purse. And definitely set a reminder, because as you get caught up in your day, you might forget that you need to take this before you eat, which is not a common thing that most people do unless they're used to taking like digestive enzymes before they eat or something like that. So set yourself up for success with these. We don't want to miss a dose. We really don't. If you do, it's not the end of the world, but to have the most success, you really want to be on top of it for just these 3 days. So before every meal, your 10 drops of para 3 in water, and then just 1 of the biotoxin binder as well. You can just drink it back at the same time and then eat your meal. So that is it. And you do that for 3 days. And we're timing it 1 day before the full moon, the day of the full moon, and the day after. And see what you notice. It can be common, even on low doses, to feel side effects. These side effects are not bad. These side effects are proof that something's happening in your body. It's something worth celebrating. Know that it's temporary. Drink more water if you're feeling lethargic, a headache, anything like that. It can be really common. Ideally, we're starting you off on a low dose so that you don't feel these negative side effects. But even if you do on the beginner dose, that's okay. It can happen. What you can do is you can just push through with your doses for the 3 days. Or if needed, if you feel really sensitive, you really don't like how you feel on the beginner dose, you can half that. Okay, so you can actually just do 5 drops of everything that you see in the beginner dosages. You can cut that in half for your following dose. So you can do 5 drops of para 3. You can do 1 para 1 and 1 para 2 instead of 2. And then I would not have the biotoxin binder. The binder is actually only going to help with detox symptoms. So I would not do less than 1. The biotoxin binder is actually going to sop up anything that a dead parasite releases. So inside of parasites, there are toxins that are released in the body when we kill them off. And then the binder's there to bind to anything that's released so that the body can eliminate that out to reduce you feeling crappy while you do this. So keep the binder. I wouldn't have that. So that's essentially what you're doing to implement. I hope that is easy enough. If it's not, or if you have any questions, let me know. But I'm excited for you. And if you see things come out, if you want to watch what comes out of you in your bowel movements, you're more than welcome to. If you don't have to look though, this, of all of the different parasite cleanses I've seen, this is the one where people see the most visible stuff coming out of them. It's very common. If you want to look, look. If you don't, don't. Some people even get wooden skewers and kind of poke around with what comes out. Just know that if you see something awesome, if you don't, it's still working. It's still improving your gut microbiome overall, because 70% of parasites aren't actually visible to the human eye. So stuff might be coming out. Also, that being said, this also addresses fungus, candida, other gut microbiome imbalances in addition to parasites as well. So just know it's working, it's helping. And this video is just so you have the most useful experience and I can kind of walk you through what we're doing as far as implementation. I hope this helped.